All right, so this is a non-functioning eBay find. Well, actually, this is a Corning PC-351 hot plate stirrer, which has a working hot plate function, but the stirring potentiometer is stuck. So got it awful cheap. So we're going to take this apart by using this little pry bar to probably pop these knobs off, take the bottom off, and then we're going to use some contact cleaner and probably some electronics rated oil to free up that potentiometer if possible. If not, we're just going to take the desolder the potentiometer and put a new one on there. Okay, so this is the knob from the potentiometer, and you can already see heavy corrosion up underneath there. So the chances of being able to salvage this potentiometer are pretty small, but yeah, we'll get in there and see what it looks like. I'm gonna go ahead and take this other one off here too, take a look under it. That's an interesting setup. So it's a slightly different looking potentiometer setup for the thermal one. Anyway, just want to show you that. As you can see, there's just 4 screws holding this thing on. There's the potentiometer. There's the little light. And there's the thermal setup. There's the spinning motor. And so the way that this works is basically just a rheostat for the motor. I'll get around to the front and see if I can take a socket set, see if I'm able to get this nut off. I think what I will do, start off with, is use some of this electric motor 2-in-1 oil, soak that on really good before we try to remove that. And then probably just take what is that, maybe a 1/2 inch or something like that, 1/2 inch nut, and get it out of there. Okay, so I use these locking vice grips gently on the body of this potentiometer right here. And as you can see, I was able to get that thing unthreaded. It was a 1/2 inch nut there, which obviously I'm gonna have to clean up if I do use this thing again. So I just wanted to show you that it was a 1/2 inch, and I grabbed it very gently by the ceramics right there. If you do not grab it gently by the ceramics, you're going to snap that, and you're definitely going to have to replace the thing. So anyway, gently. Oh, so there's like a little steel keeper on here. You see that little spring? Little steel spring. I'm going to get some needle nose pliers and just pull that thing off there. Doesn't appear like it's held in place by anything. It's like maybe you could use a spanner to open that thing up, but I think it'll probably pull straight off. Yep, see, just a little spring. It just slides on. So we will use some rust remover and get that nut cleaned up here. And here's our potentiometer that we are now going to wrench on a little bit and see if we can get freed up. And if we can, great. If not, it's a simple matter to just desolder it and put a new one in there. So I've got it apart. This little jobby goes down in there. You can kind of see where that slots in down there. That's one of the contact rings on this thing. That's the outside part of the potentiometer. And this is the inside part. So we're going to clean them up and put it back in and see what happens. That's what we're going to do. All right, so the new switch has arrived. And it came with these handy dandy little wire ends that you can just slip the wire in here and then just crimp them into place. You can see these are bare wire ends from where I removed them from the previous switch. The reason I want this, it's not a perfect replacement, I don't think, but it should work. And the most important thing is it's actually the same size. Actually, it looks identical to the one I took out, so it probably should work. I think the overall rating of it was pretty similar as far as drawing everything. So we're gonna get this slapped into place here. I'm gonna get the little ends on there, and I don't know if I showed you the other time, but whenever I remove wires, I label them. Center and right and left. And that way we put everything back in just the way it was. And I labeled it with the switch looking like that. And then when it goes in, it kind of comes out the front like that. So we'll see. We'll see. I think it's a similar size to the previous one, so the thing should fit on it okay. But even if it doesn't, there's a knob for it. There's a knob for it here. So since it's a spinner, it doesn't really matter. As long as you turn in one direction, spins fast, turn the other direction, goes slower. So I'll get those things wired up on here, and then to put it back through, you take this brass nut, take that off. It comes through the housing in the front right there, and then the nut goes back on. And I may, if it does work and everything okay, I may put a little bit of silicone on the inside and outside of the housing before I put the nut on, and screw that on so that if there's a spillover, so what happened to the previous switch is there was a boil over and the contents got into the switch, and it froze because acid is not good for switches. So anyway, let me get that put in. As you can see, these guys are crimped on here now. So now it's just a matter of taking these little nuts and washers and stuff and screwing them in their respective positions. Note, two of them are kind of larger bolts like this, and one of them is a little teeny one. Okay, you can see here's the two bigger ones and the little tiny one that goes in the center. So it's not stopping, which is interesting. Guess I'll sort that out. I'm wondering, why does the hot plate say it's on? It's not on, but it says it's on. Well, okay, problem number two. But anyway, other than it running really slow at all times, I may just have to adjust that switch. Certainly doesn't feel on, but seems to be working. Maybe that light comes on. I don't know. Curious. All right, so magnetic stir bar. All right, so the stir works. It doesn't not work, which is a little weird. Might have to get a different switch, but at whatever, $10, it's not a very expensive switch. But it's interesting, it doesn't have a 0 point, so something I'll have to figure out. But anyway, and I don't know why that thing is acting like it should be on, unless when it's plugged in, that just comes on. I'll have to look up, see if I can find the user's manual for that. Anyway, looks like we got an operational heater. I mean, a hot plate stir. It was broken when I bought it, not anymore.